What's going on, Shuffle Squad family? We're back with another great, amazing video here. Post-rotation, we finally made it, and now we're going to be talking about one of the best decks in the format, that big giant fire lizard that everybody loves, Charizard EX. Yes, the king has returned as one of the best decks in the current format, and there's two different ways to play it, but today we're going to be talking specifically about Pidgeot EX in Charizard EX. I know that that's how we played it the last format. That was the better way to play it. A lot of people are on the fence. Do I play Bibarel? Do I play Pidgeot? Well, we've got the 60 cards here for you that I have created. I think this is probably the best list to play in standard format. We're going to talk about all kinds of things on this list today. You're going to learn about different techs you might want to add into this list for certain matchups depending on how your specific meta is, or maybe the meta you're going to be playing in. And then we're going to show you some gameplay here on PTCG Live as well. So if you want to watch all of that, definitely stick around. If not, you can always just copy this list from the description and paste it in your PTCG Live and play it for yourself. But before we get there, as always, we want to give a huge shout out to all of the sponsors that help support the Shuffle Squad. You can check them all out in the description of this video as well. And you know what? Go down there and use some of the affiliate codes so you can save yourself some money on some Pokemon product too in the process. So we're going to hop right over and talk about this list. Let's get it. All right, as always, we're going to start out with the Charizard line. Now, we do have a split here. We've got a 4-2-3 line on the Charizard EX. Now, we do split it up because I know that having 60 HP is not optimal for a Charmander, but this Charmander can attack 30 damage for 1 energy. So we do have a 2-2 split here. I know it kind of looks weird in the graphic that you're looking at because we have the promo version and the non-promo version in our list, but trust me, they are definitely the same exact card. So we're going to move on to the Charmeleons. Now, I did put 2 Charmeleons in this list, and the reason is one has a really cool ability that prevents any damage and effects done to it, like TM de-evolution and also Sableye attack to Lost Mine damage onto it. Those are really cool. And then also, you know, Radiant Greninja is around too. So we want to prevent that damage as long as it's on the bench. And the other one's good into things like Mimikyu that blocks damage from Pokemon V and EXs, because this one can swing 70 damage into a Mimikyu EX and knock it out in one shot. So that's why I have the 1-1 split here for the Charmeleon. And then we have our big boy, the star of the show here. It's Charizard EX. We all know what Charizard EX does. It ramps up that damage and accelerates fire energy, so we won't spend too much time over there. Now, we do still have the 2-0-2 Pidgeot line, where we've got the Call for Family Pidgey, and then the Pidgeot with Quick Search as the ability to search for 1 card inside your deck once per turn. Now, moving on to the other support Pokemon that we have here, we see that there's Rotom here still for instant charge. I would consider upping this to a 2 count for your list because Rotom's super important. We definitely want to get that out to help us draw cards with the instant charge ability to end our first turn. We still have Jirachi because Sableye is still a thing, so we want to prevent any sort of damage counters placed on our bench Pokemon. Same thing goes for Manaphy to protect our bench a little bit from Radiant Greninja because Lost Box is still around in this current meta regardless of how much we want it here or not. We have a Lumineon that we can search out one of our awesome supporters, and not only is Lumineon great for doing that, but it's also another Forest Seal Stone target. As we can see down below in the list, if you skipped ahead, we've got Forest Seal Stone in this list, so we can flip that and search for any card in our deck. Same thing goes for Rotom, so we've got one of each as 2 different Forest Seal Stone targets. Now, to clean up at the end of the game, usually we have Radiant Charizard. Now, we'll be able to use this Radiant Charizard a couple times with a few sneaky techs that we have in the list, but Radiant Charizard is great because it can swing huge amounts of damage, and sometimes it's only for 1 energy card. So great single prize attacker to clean up. Let's talk about these supporters here. Now, I am on the fence with the supporter line, but I do really like where I'm at as far as consistency playing the list just straight out of the gate into the new format, where we have the 4 Arvens still, just like we used to in the old format, so we're able to search out things like our 4 of Buddy-Buddy Poffin or our Nest Ball, Ultra Ball, what have you, and then we still can search out some of these tool cards here that we might need to help us get by, or maybe we're even using them as fodder for our Ultra Ball. But really cool here. I still love having the 4 Arven. You can definitely go down to 3, maybe even 2 in the list if you're finding that you want other things other than tool cards and item cards, but I really like Arven on the first turn of the game going second, so we can find that Buddy Poffin and start setting up our board. Now, we still play a lot of Gust, so we still have 3 Boss's Orders, so we can Gust up things on the bench, and we still have a lot of Disruption here in the 3 Ionos. So I love having the 3-3 split there, because it's definitely something that's going to not only help your consistency if you have a dead hand with Iono, but help you close out that game with Boss's Orders. Now, we have one of Professor's Research. This can get cut. I definitely think that you don't need it. Maybe you go up to a 4th Iono. Maybe you cut it for something completely different. Maybe even a Roseanne's Backup if you want to use that. I don't know. But definitely it's a flex spot to have the Professor's Research. But I do like having it in there, again, if you're starting out with a dead hand, or maybe you got Iono'd and you go in with Quick Search just to find Professor's Research to fill your hand back up. That could be really good. We could also add a Roxanne into the list too here in this slot for the end of the game, but I do like the early game consistency of Professor's Research too. Now, this is my super spicy tech for the deck here, and this is going to be the Professor Turo in the list. Now, Professor Turo is great in Mirror because if your Charizard's getting hit and not knocked out, you can just pick it up off the board. You can use Super Rod to put the energies back in and then slap it back down. Because we have those 2 Charmeleons in the list, we won't have to utilize our rare candies as much as we would in some of the older lists. Now, as you can see, we do still have the 4 rare candies, which is a must for this deck, and we have a 4-4-3 split of our ball search cards because we did lose Battle VIP Pass, so now we're replacing that with the Buddy-Buddy Poffin. We do have 4 Ultra Ball to get our evolution Pokemon out if we need them, and we can also use that to search Lumineon too, so definitely having the 4 count of Ultra Ball is super good and really helpful in this list. And I love having 3 Nest Balls in this list. I know a lot of other lists I've seen online or from Japan are cutting Nest Ball or going down to a smaller count, but I really think that you need 3 Nest Balls minimum for this list to actually function and get everything you need out consistently. And that's the name of the game with this deck here, is just consistency. We want to have things like Super Rod to put those energy back. If you look down below and skip ahead a bit, there are only 6 energy in this list. Feels kind of bad if we don't have 2 Super Rods, so if you're going to take a Super Rod out, make sure you're putting energy cards back in. We do still have the one of Lost Vacuum here. Now, we used to use that as something to get rid of Path to the Peak. Surprise, no more Path to the Peak, so we don't need that anymore. So we're just cutting it down to the 1. If you hate having only 1 in this list, maybe going up to 2 is fine if that tickles your fancy, but I really only think that we need the 1. Now, we do still have extra Gust here for the Counter Catcher. And I know you're saying, PJ, I don't see any Prime Catcher in this list. Well, we're going to find out why in just a moment, but having the 1 Counter Catcher is good enough if you're behind on prize cards and you just need to swing for that extra 2 prize card knockout with Charizard. This is how we're going to get there. Now, we already talked about Forest Sealstone. I still have Choice Belt in this list because there are a lot of stall decks out there still playing Rotom as the engine, so we do want to hit into some of those V Pokemon, maybe even into a Lost Box still playing Raikou V, maybe Miraidon's still out there playing something, and we're only swinging 180 damage. I love having this damage buff in Choice Belt, so this could be also another flex spot. One of the other spicy techs I have here right underneath Turo in this list is going to be the Hero's Cape. Now, Hero's Cape is great because you can potentially have a 430 hit point Charizard EX on the field. This is also good for some of the other techs. You know, we're talking about the liabilities in this list with Rotom and Lumineon. You can pop it on there, and that way now some of your Pokemon that are sitting ducks on the bench are 100 HP more. So now you get to have them sitting there and they aren't going to get knocked out by something just coming up and Iron Handsing you for the knockout. But even though Iron Hands probably will still do the trick, you definitely want to utilize this. But I really like using it on something like the Charizard and then having the Turo to pick it back up. I think it's really cool and definitely helps out get this list a little bit more consistent again in Mirror. So this could be the wave having the Hero's Cape, but let me know what you think in the comments. Flame me or tell me you think it's a great idea. Either way, I love answering the comments on that. Again, talking about liabilities, we still keep the one Collapsed Stadium in here. If we fill up our bench, we can collapse something off of it like that Rotom, or maybe even a damaged Charizard if we have to. That way our opponent's just not sniping that out. I still like having the Lost City here. We do have a lot of consistency with this build, so having an Artisan could be another flex spot for the list, but we're cutting slim on the stadiums, and I love having Lost City so my opponent can't recycle Charizard. Maybe if they're playing Ancient Box, now their Pokemon are going into the Lost Zone instead of their discard pile. A lot of synergy here with Lost City, so that's another card I've personally added in. I think is a great part of this Charizard list. So we're going to test this list out on the ladder, see how some games run against some PTCGL players out there, and then you can gauge for yourself whether or not you think this list is good. So let's hop over there and take a look. All right, we're hopping into this game here. Looks like our opponent's going to call the coin flip. Hopefully we win that, and then we get to choose second, I think is optimal. So if you're going first with this deck, it's okay, but I really think a blind second is good. And the reason being is you want to try to Arven, just like you did in the previous format, and get your Buddy Poffin, maybe get a Nest Ball so you can get your Rotom out and just start drawing cards. And that's the really big part about this deck, is drawing a lot of cards so you can get all your pieces set up in the early game, and that way you'll have a pretty decent late game. Waiting for my opponent to finish up here. Let's see exactly what they're playing, and it looks like a Greninja. That could be a little scary, especially since we don't have a way of getting Manaphy on the board. And if they're able to load up this Radiant Greninja pretty quickly, say if it's Temporal, which is on paper a bad matchup for us, it could be game ending for us for sure. Let's see. Okay, so still kind of scared, because if there's no Palkia hitting the board right now, then we might be in trouble if we do see a Palkia come down. All right, there's another Gimme Ghoul. Okay, Pokestop. Now Pokestop could be good for us also. So we have a lot of item cards in our deck. We could thin with Nest Ball, just get a Rotom out. That's exactly what I think I want. There's Rotom. Let's see if we could draw into a Buddy-Buddy Poffin. Okay, we still get a Rare Candy. Not the worst thing. We did lose Jirachi, that doesn't matter here. And I think that we'll just instant charge to end the turn. Okay, so now we can swing into this Greninja. That's not bad. They haven't attached for turn. Neither did we. So that's okay. I think, honestly, if we can Arven can get us for Seal Stone. And then we can actually put a Hero's Cape. I think Hero's Cape is good here. Especially since they have to ramp so hard into it. They have to get... Okay, so we get to put Pokemon down. That's great. We'll go here. Let's get a Hero's Cape. And then Rare Candy, because we have Pidgeot in hand. So that's good. We're going to go like this. Pop this here. Now we're putting cards on the board. 1, 2, 3. Do it like this. Here, I can even start to manually load up Charizard. And that's scary for the Goldango that comes out of here, for sure. I don't want to play Collapse just yet, but let's get rid of this Greninja. So now that we don't have Manaphy on the board, we can get rid of the Greninja threat for right now. I know that they could potentially come back and do that with maybe a Super Rod. Speak of the devil here. And then we have to see if they're able to set up a couple of their Goldangos, start to draw, and there it is. Okay, so Coin and Bonus is gonna draw them more cards. They don't have many energies in their discard pile right now, just the one. So they're gonna have to play something like maybe an Earthen Vessel. It's like I know how to play this game. So they're getting rid of the Palkia there, not really going for the Greninja play too early. This deck is just not setting up for them, it looks like. They are having a hard go. But, you know, with the terrible opening hand that we had, this is actually a really good setup. Next turn we can Rare Candy Charmeleon, and I think that's good too. We can plant an energy on the Charmeleon. All good things. It looks like they might have frozen here. No, just that there's a card floating behind where my head is. But here we go. Superior energy retrieval for 1 energy? Seems a little odd, but okay. But I suppose they are grasping here. Yikes. Unless their hand's all energy, that would be hilarious too. Okay, so boss's orders. On the Rotom, huh? Sure. Are they just gonna boss stall? Sure. Alright, there goes the Palkia, Greninja. Oh no, I didn't even realize that. They had 2 Goldangos in there. That's tough. Oh, they did have 4 energy. Okay, here we go. Totally fine. It's Rare Candy. Get rid of that. Let's go. We don't ever need the Choice Belt, so let's get rid of this Choice Belt. I mean, we would need it for Palkia, but I think at this point, since they already took 2 prize knockout, we won't need that anymore. I'm gonna go in and we'll search for a Charmeleon here, and we'll get the one that prevents bench damage because the Greninja did go back into the deck. So if they're playing a 2-2 Palkia line, that's something we want to be cautious about. We'll even plant another energy on that, and then swing for 240 damage. We took away their draw card, put it in the loss zone with the Pokestop, getting out of there. We don't have to play our Collapsed Stadium just yet. We can set up a backup Charizard. They have to reach so hard into a 430 hit point Charizard right now. We are doing great things. This deck is so good. Yeah, I honestly love playing this deck. It's super fun. I mean, there's so many different ways that you could play Charizard, and I feel like having the outs to even stall. All you have to do is really put a 101 Gengar line in this, and now you're good against stall. I mean, they have Mimikyu, but again, we have the tech for Mimikyu already. There's the Greninja. Greninja's not doing much to us right now. They don't have cross switchers anymore. They already used Irida this turn. They're kind of thinking out, how do I draw enough cards so I can take a huge knockout for 430? So you have to think 2 energies is 100, right? If we're doing the math. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 energies, and they have currently 7 cards in their hand. They don't even have enough cards in their hand to do this knockout. Okay, they're gonna prime catcher me. Interesting. Okay, so they're taking out the Charmeleon, leaving the 430 hit point Charizard on the bench. That's crazy. Alright, so they've taken 3 prize cards. Totally fine. But I Iono them to 3. But I don't even want to. I'm just going to put the Pidgeot up. We're going to establish more Pokemon. And we'll get a Buddy-Buddy Poffin. And we'll get a Forest Seal Stone. Why not? Let's put 2 more Charmanders down. I'll go ahead and quick search. And sure, we'll quick search for a Charmeleon. I'll manually retreat into my big boy. And then we'll just Burning Darkness for 270 damage. Now we're starting to take the one-shots here. We have to knock out 1 more of their EX Pokemon, and then 1 of anything else. So we can win the game in 2 turns. They have to knock out our Pidgeot and 1 of our other Pokemon, because they're definitely not going to be able to knock out this Charizard in the active spot. Alright, so this is kind of a cool combo. Alright, so this CCs, as I like to call it, Cypher Maniacs Code Breaking, they're going to stack their deck a little bit and probably draw with Radiant Greninja. That's a really cool combo. I like that, and obviously with coin bonus you could do the same thing. So I like where they're headed with this, but I still don't think that they're getting there. They honestly need to get double superior energy retrieval. Okay, so Letter of Encouragement, they get 3. That's actually a really good card in this deck now. I know a lot of old Rapid Strike players love this card, but right now, Goldango is where it belongs for sure. Alright, so we are totally fine here. If they do take a knockout, we can just swing with Radiant Charizard. I think that they're trying to struggle to see how they're going to get by. If they don't knock this out, there is a potential for us to just go into the deck and Turo this away, and then play it down again and swing, which is actually really cool here. Alright, so let's see what they do. Right now they still have 8 cards in hand. Not enough cards if they're all energy to even knock this thing out. That's so wild. I love that. Okay, okay. Getting rid of an energy to get energy. And they do it. All of their cards, huh? 450, okay. Not a whole lot going on. They're able to draw 2 cards off this. Now we can Iono them to 1. And if they don't have it, they don't have it, right? Go here. Let's not give them any outs. Alright, we're going to put something that we don't want at the bottom of the deck. Like an Arven. We definitely don't need Arven. We're going to attach a Forest Seal Stone. I'll put some stuff back into the deck. Like 2 energies and a Charizard. And then we'll hit him with the Iono. Now next turn is really funny too, because we can Turo our Charizard and do it again. All we need is an energy card. Alright, so that's exactly what we're going to do. Let's quick search for an energy card, just so we have it in hand, just in case. We're going to hit him for 500 damage. Yes, I would love to do that. All right. So now all we have to do is make sure that they don't have the one thing that they need, which would be like a professor's research or something crazy like that. I don't even know. They'd have to coin bonus and find the perfect cards to win this game here. Now, mind you, they need 4 energy plus attachment off their 2-card hand because we Iono'd them with a little bit of disruption, and we have everything that we need to just hit them again. Okay, they're putting one thing on the top. I don't think that they expect the Turo here. If they did expect Turo to be a possibility in real life, if you're playing a best of 3, you already know that there's a Turo in the deck. Probably scoop it up here. That's what I would do. Just scoop up those cards. All right, this is really, really fun. All right, there's the Nest Ball. All right, let's see what happens. What are they going to dig for? Let me know. I don't even know what's taking them so long. They're just searching. What are you searching for? That's not going to help. All right, 2 cards in hand. Okay, passing it back to us. Let's pull out this Turo play. Here we go. Turo scenario. Up our active Pokemon. Put the Pidgeot in the active. Put the Radzard down. Put the energy. And that's the concession. They see it. It's there. Everything is good to go. All right, so there you have it. That was Charizard EX. This is a newer list for the Temporal Forces format. I love playing Charizard. I think Charizard EX is a force to be reckoned with. One of the best decks in the format, if not the best deck. Go through that list. Remember to copy it out of the description of this video so you can play it at home yourself and enjoy Charizard the way that I'm enjoying Charizard. Now, if you don't like the list or maybe have some tech ideas, again, leave them in the comments below. We love answering the comments to these videos here and love to hear what you have to say. If you did like videos like this, make sure that you're hitting the like button and subscribing for more awesome Pokemon TCG content here on the Shuffle Squad, where we love to provide competitive Pokemon content for you at home, the viewer. And you can also share these videos with your friend. Let them know a little bit more about how to play these awesome decks online so they can get better and maybe play with you at your local league or in these bigger events coming up throughout the season. So one more time, I'm going to give a huge shout out to those sponsors down below. Make sure you're checking them out. I'm PJ here with the Shuffle Squad, and we will catch you next time.
Want to support the Shuffle Squad? Be sure to check out all of our sponsors in the description to pick up Pokemon TCG singles, sealed, and PTCG live codes. You made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching this entire video from the Shuffle Squad. Honestly, from the bottom of our hearts, we appreciate each and every person that supports our content, watches what we have going on every single day, every single week, even from time to time, and continuously allows us to have a forum to project our creative content towards the Pokemon TCG community. So if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and even leave a comment to help boost the YouTube algorithm. That being said, we'll catch you with our next video. Thanks again. Take it easy.